Hello, my name is Mark Gale. I have the honor and privilege of serving as the Chief Executive Officer for Broward County's Aviation Department, overseeing both the Fort Lauderdale-Hollywood International Airport as well as North Perry Airport. As everyone is keenly aware, these are very troubling times as we manage through a global pandemic. Ordinarily, we'd be gathered in person at our 9/11 Memorial in Terminal 1 to pay homage to those we lost on that fateful day 19 years ago. However, out of a great respect for everyone's health and safety, we have chosen to conduct our ceremony today in virtual fashion. Such cruel irony that we commemorate the 19th anniversary of 9/11 while we battle COVID-19. Of course, like you, we long for the day when this virus will be but a bad memory, and we are again able to join shoulder to shoulder without fear or trepidation and proudly declare, as we have done for so many years now, coronavirus or not, we made a vow, a solemn promise. We will never forget. To begin our ceremony today, we will first have the presentation of the colors by the Joint TSA and BSO Honor Guard and the Police Pipe and Drum Corps of Florida, which was recorded at last year's commemoration. The color presentation will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As the soot and dirt and ash rained down, we became one color. As we fell to our knees in prayer for strength, we became one faith. As we mourned together the great loss, we became one family. As we retell with pride the sacrifice of our heroes, we become one people. Each year, we always begin where we left off. At the end of each annual commemoration, we proclaim with all our hearts that we will never forget. Not today, not tomorrow, not on any of the days that follow. It is far too important. We lost so many that day and in the days following. Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, brothers and sisters, sons and daughters. We lost family, friends, co-workers, and yes, strangers. And we continue to lose many first responders, our heroes, from illnesses and diseases due to the toxic elements that filled the air. That day, the world let loose a global cry of pain, and suffering, and sympathy. And swirling inside that unmeasurable grief was also anger over what had just transpired. Some will recall in the days that followed, we experienced a sense of patriotism and love for our country that was probably unprecedented. But sometimes, the memory of that wonderful patriotism dwindles or is overshadowed by current events or other crises. Life does move forward, and time can be a worthy adversary against the integrity of personal vows and promises. We must remain steadfast year after year that no amount of time will diminish what we felt that day, nor will it erase the void that was left in so many hearts. Steadfast. Anything less would be an insult to their memory and to their loved ones. So, reaching deep into our hearts, today we remember the passengers and crew members aboard American Airlines Flight 11 going from Boston to Los Angeles that struck the North Tower of the World Trade Center. The passengers and crew aboard United Airlines Flight 175 going from Boston to Los Angeles that struck the South Tower. The passengers and crew aboard American Airlines Flight 77 going from Washington to Los Angeles that struck the Pentagon. And the passengers and crew of United Airlines Flight 93 going from Newark to San Francisco that crashed in an empty field in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. We remember those in the buildings and on the streets of New York City and in the Pentagon. We especially pay tribute to the hundreds of firefighters, police officers, first responders, and rescue workers, both living and those who died that day in the line of duty. They are the ones who rushed towards danger to save those that they could, because that was their calling. In a moment, you will hear from some of the folks that help protect our airports every day, including TSA Federal Security Director Jason Martin, Port Director for the U.S. Customs and Border Protection Dylan DeFrancisci, and Broward County Sheriff Gregory Toney. But first, it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you Broward County's Mayor and Commissioner for the 9th District, a huge supporter of our airports and our communities, Dale V.C. Holness.
Is Patriot Day. I'm Dale Holness, the mayor of Broward County. And on Patriot Day, we honor the memory of the 3,000 Americans who lost their lives in the September 11, 2001 terrorist attack. We honor their family, our first responders, all soldiers who have served us here at home and abroad. America as a country is a nation that strives to ensure that we are indivisible with liberty and justice for all our people. And no other country in the world has loyal, patriotic citizens from every corner of the earth. That is one of our greatest strengths as a country, that we have people from every corner of this earth working together. And I honor today all of us who work to contribute to make this country a better place, a more prosperous nation for all of us who live here.
I'm Jason Martin. I'm the Federal Security Director for TSA for Fort Lauderdale-Hollywood International Airport. For me, Patriot Day and 9/11 is really a day of sacrifice. It's not only did we lose a staggering number of civilians in the attacks on 9/11, but we also lost a large number of first responders and law enforcement officers. Every day, federal, state, and local law enforcement officers put themselves on the line to protect our lives and the freedoms that we've been given. On 9/11, more law enforcement line of duty officers lost their lives than in any other single incident in the United States. Patriot Day also reminds me of the military families and the sacrifices that they've made in order to fight terrorism abroad. 9/11 also elicits a profound sense of pride in my agency. Every day, hundreds of TSA officers at FLL confront dangerous, prohibited items that some passengers attempt to bring through, either on their person or in their belongings. TSA officers expose themselves to possible explosives, dangerous chemicals, illegal narcotics, firearms, sharp objects, and even COVID-19. All to keep passengers and other airport employees safe and ensure the free movement of goods via the air transportation system. But we're only able to protect the airport with the close collaboration and cooperation that we receive from our local, state, and federal partners. Weren't for Broward County Aviation Department, for Broward Sheriff's Office, for our federal partners in CBP, FBI, and FAA. Together, we're stronger, more effective, and more efficient at protecting this airport. Federal, state, and local entities applying our respective authorities collaboratively to keep the traveling public and the airport community safe from our enemies. Let 9/11 be a constant reminder that our safety and security is paid for by those individuals that are willing to risk life and limb daily in order to ensure our well-being.
My name is Dylan DeFrancisci, I'm the Port Director here for U.S. Customs and Border Protection at Fort Lauderdale-Hollywood International Airport. 9/11 means a lot to me. I was an officer for U.S. Customs and Border Protection in Newark Airport at the time of this horrific, tragic terrorist event. And it really hit home for many of the family members in the North Jersey, New York area during that attack. The New York skyline is something I looked at every day from a child to the time I went to college. I saw it from my dorm room every day to working every day at Newark Liberty International Airport. It was just an image that I saw every day and a big part of my life growing up. The events of that day were tragic for many women and men of law enforcement and first responders. And why that left a huge void for us, we are galvanized by their service and the sacrifice for that day and all that they've done. We tragically lost almost 3,000 men and women, many of them first responders, on that day. And as difficult a time as that was, we knew that we'd come back and build stronger. As a result, the Department of Homeland Security was stood up after the events of 9/11. And we support our men and women each and every day. For U.S. Customs and Border Protection, it was a difficult time, but we knew we would rebuild stronger and come back better. The Department of Homeland Security was formed as a result of 9/11, and we respond to any threat, big or small, each and every day as U.S. Customs and Border Protection officers.
I think Patriots Day is a reminder as a first responder about the importance of serving the community, both from the military standpoint and everything that we do as law enforcement or first responders, as it was dedicated to a horrific moment we had here in the United States during 9/11. And we've seen how it helped unite our community and unite our country, regardless of how devastating of an event it was. I think it's important for us to remember for a multitude of reasons. First, of course, about the security aspects that are important for us here in this country, and that we can't take our eye off the importance of what we do in this profession in law enforcement, but what we do in the military as well when it comes to safeguarding the freedoms and liberties of all Americans that exist here. And then I would also say it's important to recognize the sacrifices that so many different people that have wore uniforms and have not been service members that put forth their lives and lost their lives during this horrific event on September 11th. I think it's vital for us to remember the sacrifices and the devastation behind so many people losing their lives during this terrorist attack. One, out of respect for those who are gone, and then two, to ensure that we don't forget the mistakes of the past when it comes to the security aspects that are vital for national security and the things that we can continue to do to safeguard all Americans so that we never face this type of tragic event again. The type of successes that we're having in safeguarding the community, safeguarding the country, has been a byproduct of being more proactive, creating new departments, creating units and utilizing technology and making sure that we are really have a strong partnership with our federal, state, and local entities. I can speak very proudly about the partnerships we have with the FBI, Homeland Security. I think some of the core takeaways that we can expand upon in terms of successes after 9/11, what we've done in this profession is to expand our use and capability of technologies. We've created a multitude of new organizations here in the country, from the Department of Homeland Security, creating a more governing body of all our different federal, state, and local law enforcement organizations to ensure that we're working more collectively so that we don't lose intel, so that we don't fail to work together on things that are vital for all of us, regardless of what part of the country we may have these threats. It's essential for the safety of all Americans.
Thank you, gentlemen, and thanks to all the members of their respective organizations. Today, we also remember the thousands of members of the armed services who have given their lives so that we and others may live in freedom. We must never forget them or the men and women who continue to fight and preserve our freedom and democracy around the world. As we draw our very different ceremony to a close, and for the 5th consecutive time, I promise you it won't be the last, I'd like to again share with you the same words I have in previous years. They are thought-provoking and inspirational words. This writing is powerful and appropriate. It was written by Alan W. Jankowski and is entitled, "We Shall Never Forget." As always, feel free to close your eyes and reflect or gaze upon our memorial. Whichever you decide, I hope these words, though slightly worn and repeated from prior years, but whose meaning holds tremendous value and will not diminish, will sink into your heart. Be well, stay safe, and I truly hope to see you in person next year as we declare, we will never forget. Let the world always remember that fateful day in September, and the ones who answered duty's call should be remembered by us all, who left the comfort of their home to face perils as yet unknown, an embodiment of goodness on a day when men's hearts had gone astray. Sons and daughters like me and you, who never questioned what they had to do, who by example were a source of hope and strength to others who could not cope. Heroes that would not turn their back, with determination that would not crack, who bound together in their ranks and asking not a word of thanks. Actions taken without regret. Heroisms we shall never forget. The ones who paid the ultimate price. Let's never forget their sacrifice. And never forget the ones no longer here who fought for the freedoms we all hold dear. And may their memory never wane, lest their sacrifice be in vain.
God bless America, land that I love, stand beside her.